I think we've seen this in Hollywood too in recent years. I mean, you know, many of the blockbuster movies we see are either remakes or sequels, or you know, we're regurgitating, we're remaking television shows into movies and stuff. Are creative people running out, running out of ideas, and is it trickling into the wrestling business?
Yeah, again, without knowing the people behind the scenes, I don't know if it's what the mentality is. If there's just not, you know, have we ran out of ideas, or is it something where guys who are writing have been writing for so long that they don't know how to think outside the box anymore?
Well, and that transitions into another topic. You know, we've talked about, you know, through our emails and whatnot before, about an off season for the superstars. Maybe the writers need an off season too. You know, this is really, and I'm going to call it a sport for the sake of an argument, because you are putting on an athletic exhibition a lot of the times. But you know, baseball has an off season, football has an off season, hockey, basketball, they all get a break and step away from it. But you're looking at 52 weeks every year of original programming for both companies. I mean, do these guys need a break?
Most likely, yes. And not only a break, but I'd be curious how many guys are writing, you know, for each show, and you know, what are they responsible for? Are they only responsible for a certain amount of guys, or, you know, like, is one guy responsible for all the heavyweight title picture situation, or are they writing the entire show? And yeah, you know, you try doing 52 episodes, and even not even sports, but you look at television shows where the normal season is only 22 to 26 episodes, and a lot of shows now are doing half season, like most of your cable-oriented shows, which are, you know, getting a lot of praise, are only 12 to 13 episodes a year, and then it gives them time to kind of focus and make stories tight, and you know, and then focus. Hopefully, before the next season starts up, they have time to plot out where they're going to go. Whereas if if you're doing 52 weeks a year,
could the fans stand to have an off season though, from the fan perspective?
I would say, can the networks afford to have an off season? Because what are you going to fill that time with? You know, if say TNA went to a 10-month schedule, well, it's 2 months of programming that Spike would have to then put something else in there, and then if that show does better than Impact,
you run the risk of losing.
Yeah. When Impact comes back, do you put it back on the same time slot? Do you move it to a different time slot where the fans might not move with it? I don't know. It's
and Vince, I think, would have the upper hand in that respect, because he's got such a library of stuff that, you know, I would watch anything WWE related, and I know that makes me a sheep, but I am a WWE loyalist. I have been since 1984. So if you know, threw up some vintage, not to quote Michael Cole here, but if you threw up some old WWE superstars, or you know, he's got the WCW library, and he's got the World Class library, he's got all these different things that he could easily give his crew a break and run these older programs, and maybe have a like things that they're doing online, you know, with Dusty Rhodes and Michael Hayes and those guys, and have those, and I think people would watch it. I would watch it. I don't know if everybody could watch it.
Well, you know, Vince has his 24/7, and the rumors of a whole cable network coming, so I'm sure he's fine with how things are. But yeah, I think, and I know TNA started the reaction show in the past few months, which fortunately looks like Spike has canceled. But I thought it was a very interesting concept. I don't think it should have followed Impact, because if it's a reaction and you're trying to present Impact as being live, then as soon as the show's over, you're cutting to all these prepackaged interviews backstage. But I thought the show was interesting. And I think they could have used that, since that was a whole talking show, to cut down on the amount of promos being done on Impact.
Sure.
Which I guess goes into the concept of, is there too much talking in wrestling, and would fans only watch if you gave them matches? Future discussion. Yeah, I guess what it all kind of boils down to is what is TNA's goal? Are the people behind the scenes satisfied with where the company is? Are they, and you know, we've talked about this with Dixie Carter before. Is she a wrestling fan who, you know, overanalyzes the product to an extent, but understands what makes wrestling good or bad, or you know, what's people, or is she just somebody who happened to fall into this business and is kind of starstruck to be around all these names and thinks that, you know, it's cool that she can, you know, I've heard stories of her being at TNA house shows or pay-per-views and talking with fans and pulling out her phone to show off, you know, whose number she has.
She's a mark.
Yeah. Is she a money mark that's just putting up with everything? And because it's like, can Hulk Hogan come in and tell her, oh, Dixie, you need to be doing this, and then Vince Russo come and say, you know, you need to do this, and Jeff Jarrett be like, no, this. You know, is she listening to, is she trying to placate everybody, or is she sitting there and being a boss?
Too many chiefs, not enough Indians, I think, is the case.